Hello, I'm Jordan Danae Ellis, and here are some of my favorite tips and ways to show off Adobe Express. Okay, let's get started. As you probably know if you've spent any time in Adobe Express, it changes a lot. We get a lot of updates, which is great, but I say that because I'm showing this on the January 2025 version of Express, so if anything doesn't look the same, definitely take that into consideration. And also just be aware that the platform changes a lot, so I like to do a quick little run through, maybe the morning of or the night before. I've also had things launch literally like mid-demo, so just if that happens, what I always say is Express is updating all the time, which is great, and then kind of play it off that way if a button has moved or a new button is there that wasn't the last time you looked at Express. But with that, I like to start from the homepage when I'm demoing. This is a great time to kind of explain what Adobe Express is in general if you haven't done that yet. So it's Adobe's quick and easy tool to create anything. And I also like to call out that you sign in with your Adobe ID, which you can either make a new one to use Express for free, or if you have a Creative Cloud plan, Express may be included. This is also a great time to point out that Express is available as an app for tablet or mobile devices. So if you're demoing on desktop, I prefer to. A lot of the screens are landscape. You can definitely show off tablet and mobile things as well. I just usually like to start here. Another quick thing, like some housekeeping, is make sure you know where all of your files are. Being organized is definitely a huge part of this. I like to turn Do Not Disturb on here just so that no weird pop-ups come up while I'm showing off Express or anything. And yeah, I think those are the main housekeeping things. All right, so getting into the demo, I like to make this as easy on myself as possible. So I like to, show things that are already on screen, doing things in the order that I actually do them. I sometimes have notes just to make sure I don't forget anything, but I think showing off, features in a workflow makes sense for a bunch of reasons. It's how people actually work, and so I think it's just a better showcase, and also it just makes it so that it's intuitive, which I think is great. So I like to just explain what Express can do through the homepage, and it's nice because it has these 4 bucketed options right here. Also, Express can be shown to a bunch of different audiences. So sometimes it's enterprise, sometimes it's small business owners, sometimes it's students or teachers. And I think you can take a lot of this and just kind of tweak it for the audience. So here you can create in Express from your own content. This is great if you're already working in Photoshop, Illustrator, you have PDFs, you don't have to completely start over. And I like to call that out here. And also something that's nice, if you hit this plus sign, it's kind of small and hidden, but this import from other apps button actually shows you the list of other apps that you can import from. So if you want to import from a non-Adobe app, it gives you instructions, or the perk of Adobe Express is that it's part of the Creative Cloud so that you can actually pull in PDFs, Illustrator files, Photoshop files, and InDesign files at the moment I'm recording. Maybe we'll add more, and you can drop them right here, browse from your computer, or just drop it right here onto the homepage. You can also generate with generative AI, and I think it's really important to call out that this is all the generative AI in Express is powered by Adobe Firefly, and Adobe Firefly's model is trained on only Adobe stock images and open copyright images that we have the rights to train on. Because of that, it's all designed to be commercially safe. So I like to say that right up front, that anything you're generating with AI in Adobe Express or across the Adobe Creative Cloud is designed to be commercially safe. It's all powered by Adobe Firefly, and the same tools that are powering Photoshop are also powering Adobe Express. Next up, we have these quick actions that are exactly what they sound like. They are quick actions that you can do, quick and easy things like remove the background of a photo, maybe generate a QR code, caption a video, and they're all sorted by the type of project you could be working on. So that's a nice way to just call out that you can do these kind of super quick and easy things. And lastly, templates. Express has tens of thousands of templates. They're all designed by the Adobe design team, so they're a nice way to look at design inspo and then actually use them to create if you want. So here are some default template options right here on the homepage. And depending on your audience, if you're talking more to designers, you would probably lean into the importing and using the templates as inspo. Or if you're talking to an audience that's less full of creative professionals, you can actually create, from the templates right there. So that's my homepage overview. Again, I like to call out that you can use your existing Adobe ID, that Express is available as just on web, express.adobe.com, as a mobile or tablet app, and then go through kind of the main components explaining what Express is. From here, I personally like to go to the brands next because this is a nice way to set up any projects that you create. I think it's really nice to have a brand set up with whatever you want to show anyway, just so that it's all in one place. I have a billion brands from all the different demos I do. Probably would be good to clean this up a little bit. And if you have fewer than this, that's great. Tweak this to whatever your specific demo is, and just, as with everything, click into it before you go on stage or start your demo and make sure everything is where you think it is. So sometimes I'll show a few different brands. This is one that Kelsey Slay created that I love demoing on. And depending on the audience, you may want to give a little bit more of an overview of what brands are, why this is useful, and how easy it is to set up. So this is, we have logos, we have colors, we have fonts, we have saved templates and assets. You can click into any of these to see them all, which is nice. And again, the real benefit of this is that if you're sharing with a team and you maybe update the logo or update the color palette, it will automatically update for anyone in this shared brand so that you're using the most updated version of the logo, or that you're using the assets that everyone else on your team is using. And this, again, is a way to make sure everything looks cohesive across your business, organization, whoever you're speaking to. I also like calling out here that you can invite other people to this, which is great if you're working with other folks. Maybe the design team is creating for the rest of the business, or maybe you're sharing with an intern or a marketing team, again, depending on who you're talking to. And if you're talking to a brand new audience, I sometimes will show off Adobe Color, which is a free and great way to check out different types of color inspo. So this is great to explore trending color palettes, or if there's a specific, maybe you have a new coffee brand and you want to see different tones here, you can copy any of these and it's a default color palette already created for you. And the same thing with Adobe fonts. This is a great inspo, especially if you're not a fonts expert. A really nice way to see different font recommendations and pairings. So depending on your audience, this may or may not be useful to show off, but it's always nice to show free resources. And that's pretty much everything about brands. Super easy to set up, super easy to use, and that is how I like to set up all of my demos. And then from here, depending on the length of the workshop or demo that I'm doing, this is where I dive into actually creating. So there are 3 main ways to create from Express: starting from your own content, starting from an Express template, or starting from scratch. So showing off starting from your own content, I'm going to pull from that same Cat Cafe brand, which is super cute. And here we have a menu that is a Photoshop document. So this is a great way to show off how importing from other apps works. When you import something from Photoshop or Illustrator, and I think InDesign you can use it as a linked image, which means that the image won't be editable, but as you edit in the original file, it will automatically prompt you to update it in your Express project if you want. But what I'm going to do is convert this to an Adobe Express file, which means that I can use this to edit it however I want. So again, the type of templates that you're using and the what you want to showcase will depend on your audience. But some of the main things that I like to show are, one, once you edit, that we have all of these different layers over here, which is really great. So this is actually pulling in all of these different layers from Photoshop. And then the first time I open any project, I like to kind of show the different features. So a lot of the editing features are on the left. Things like if I want to go back to brands and, you know, pull in maybe one of these other assets, like everything we just looked at in brands is right here. So that's super cool. If I want to add in some media, there are millions of Adobe stock photos, video, and audio here. So depending on the project you're working on, this is a great way to show off all of these resources that you don't have to separately license. You can just use them in an Express project. Super easy to add text, add different design elements depending on your audience. If you're working on like presentations or things, showing charts and tables is huge. And then at the end we have add-ons, which there are, I believe, over 100 add-ons. And so depending on your audience, you can choose the add-ons that would make sense. Maybe something like storage if you're using like Dropbox or Google Photos. Maybe something like attention insights if you're talking to marketers. And these are changing all the time. So there are lots of fun add-ons that you can use. So that is showing off all of the different editing options on the left. Oh, and speaking of linked images, this is a great thing to call out if you're pulling in, for example, this is an Illustrator file from my brand. This is linked. So if someone updated this flower, I would get a little pop-up to update this. So those are all of the kind of editing options down the left. And a lot of the, let's say, more productivity tools, like making things quicker, are across the top. So things like resize, animating, margins can be nice to show if you're talking to folks who are using maybe print, and then bulk create and translate, which I'm going to show off some of those with a different template. So a lot of these options are like pretty straightforward, and these are the ones that I really like to showcase because these are like workflow, time-saving tools, and honestly, anything that people will actually take home and use afterwards, I think is a win, and I think a lot of those are up here. So maybe we want to animate this and make this into something really fun. I could grab a couple different flowers here and kind of choose a different combination and animate these together. Animating is something you can do with single elements or a group of elements, and there are tons of really fun animation options here. So I'll have these maybe like spin in one direction. Clicking into any of the animations gives you all of these different controls, which is cool. So maybe for the other three, I want them spinning in the other direction. I can do that. So I'll click into this and have them going that way. And adding animations, you automatically get this nice little timeline down here. I believe, at least at the moment, animations default to, oops, why did that not work? Animations default to like 5 seconds, and you can, oh, I animated in. Whoops, that's something else that is important to call out. There are different types of animations, I tend to accidentally do animate in instead of loop, and then it doesn't continue going, which is not what I want. So now everything should be animating together. Cool. Yeah, this is cute and a really fun way, especially for pro designers, to add a little bit of something, you know, fancy to their projects in Express, which is fun and cool. So those are some options that you can show with importing a file. You can also show how to edit a template that has already been saved to your brand. So in this case, I have these different templates here that are super cute. And this is a nice way too to make sure that the template that you want to work with is actually in your project here. Something that's interesting is that even if you search for a template, you know, the night before, if a bunch of templates are added, it may be in a different place. You also, if you're traveling, different templates can be different in different locations, so that's just important to call out. So it's nice to either to save a template to a brand or even favorite it, which I'll show in a minute, so that you know you can find what you're looking for. I also really recommend, unless it's a super casual demo, to look at all of the templates that you're using before you use them. So for example, over in the brands option, there's this really cool apply brand button. This is nice because it automatically applies the brand, but something that's interesting is the way that this template is set up. If I undo this, is that this, the way this template is built is that this is like a rectangle in front of the photo here. So when I hit apply brand, it doesn't know to make these shapes the same color, which isn't necessarily a problem. I can explain that and then, you know, just kind of fill this with the matching color here. But that's the kind of stuff you just want to know in advance how it works so you're not blindsided on stage. So here, this type of template is like a employee spotlight template. This is a really nice one that's easy to use in a bunch of different audiences. Can show how to like swap out the logo here. Again, over in brands, pull maybe this one in. They're so cute. Kelsey did such a good job. They're adorable. And, you know, can add animations, do all of those things. I think it's really fun to show how you can layer photos, animations, and video all in Express. I think that's pretty like powerful and cool. So in this example, I want to replace this photo with a video. I just have this video of myself doing like a little wave that I use a whole lot. So recording one video like this is kind of nice. I use this in a billion projects. But the nice thing about this too is that now I can also show not only how you can take an Express project and turn it into a video, I can also show this remove background button. You also may have noticed that that didn't appear immediately. Remove background definitely can take a minute. So I like to have some talking points while it's like now, while it is actually removing the background and even while it's getting itself ready. One of the things about demoing is just having some backup things that you can say about Express while things are working. And now I can resize it and play this cute little video. So that is the type of template that I think is really fun to show how to do a bunch of different things. So that is another example of using a template that is from a brand kit. And now if I want to show a template just from Express, I will show, I think I want to do an event workshop. I think this is gonna give me what I want. If you search for something and have like a bunch of different stuff, this is actually searching everything. So photos, videos, and stock, which is cool. It's a nice way to call out all of the different things that it's searching all over Express. But if I just want templates, I can do that. And then, like I was saying, you can actually favorite any of these, which is a great thing to do because, like right now, if you don't know exactly where the template you're looking for is, you may be scrolling. And that's just the kind of stress you don't really need while you're demoing. So yeah, I have no idea where the template I was looking for is, but luckily I have it saved to my favorites. So this is a nice way, again, to say we're adding new we're adding new templates all the time, and then call out that, you know, your favorites are here in your stuff, and this is the template that I want to edit. So it's all about being organized and making sure that you can find what you're looking for on stage, because there's nothing worse than being flustered, and there are so many ways to save yourself from having that happen. So this is a workshop flyer. This is a really great template for showing off a bunch of different features, and one that is pretty new, at least at the time I'm recording this, and a lot of fun, is bulk create. This will take a CSV file, basically something from Excel, and create a bunch of different variations of your template based on the information in your file. Two things about this is that you have to set up the Excel file in advance, or else people are going to just watch you typing in a bunch of different things, which is not exciting. And I'll show how this works, but it works on specific text boxes. So the CSV file that I have set up is going to have different workshop names, different dates, and different times. Here in this template, this is all one text box, so I actually want to copy the time here and create, I can either like just paste it, or I could, you know, copy this text box and add the time in. But this is an important thing to make sure that you have all of the text boxes set up and like talk through how you're prepping the file to use this, because that's just how this feature works, which is great. So heading up to bulk create, I have the option to drop a CSV file. So I want to do that, and I just created this super easy. This only has a few different options. There are tons of different uses for this. Maybe it is an ad campaign. In this case, it is a workshop series. I'm creating different flyers for it. Could be like to A/B test things. Could be a lot of different options. Campaigns for social. So uploading the CSV, hitting next. Now it's telling me to click into the different components of this template and match it with a column in my CSV file. So I know that one is the title here, so I'm clicking on the workshop title. I'll hit connect element, and now I can connect it with event title. And now here, another one is date, so I'm going to click that, connect element, click on that again, date. And last one, time, clicking on the time, connect element. When it just says element 1, it's not connected to anything, so I need to connect that to time. So now these 3 text boxes are connected to the 3 columns in my CSV file, and now they're automatically created. This is so cool, so easy to use, and when I hit create pages, they are automatically in this project. They can all be edited. So for example, you know, this is actually the wrong date, or maybe I want to change out the images for these. I can just hit replace. I'll search for dried flower, and let's just replace that with maybe these guys. So this is a super cute way to show a bunch of different things here, and now I have like a ton of different variations of this one flyer, which is super cute. So now this is another place where I can show different options up here. Maybe I want to translate this. You can translate to as many different languages as you want. I'll just caution you that if you choose a lot, it can take a minute. So maybe I'll choose like Spanish and Japanese. This is newish that you can choose the tone of voice. I'll choose informal here. And I love that it can translate all the pages at once. So this is, again, a time that may take a second, especially if you're not on like the strongest Wi-Fi. Oh, that's another thing. A lot of Express is really Wi-Fi dependent. So if there's any way that you can be connected to Ethernet or like the strongest Wi-Fi possible, definitely do that. And here are all of our translations. It's labeled here so I know which page is which. And now I have this giant file with all of the different workshops, all the different translations, and we can keep going. I can also resize this. This will take this one flyer and turn it into whatever sizes I want. Could be custom sizes. I'll just choose a few of these like default options here. There's also generative expand. So if my background was a photo, I could use generative expand, which is the same feature that's in Photoshop, to automatically expand my background, which is cool to show. And again, now I have all these different sizes of my flyer, which is really powerful, especially for anyone working in like marketing, to have all of these different assets in one place. So that is, those are like the biggest, I think, time-saving things to show off, translate, bulk create, and resize. You can also play with animations. There's this animate all option, which is gonna analyze all of the different components of your project and kind of default like animate them in at different times, which is just nice to have it do that for you, because timing these out can be kind of annoying. I think Bloom is my favorite. And you can also use this as a time to show off layering in video. So I could do something like, I really like using this paper texture. I use this a lot, but there's so many types of like fun texture options in like the stock images here. But if I take something like this, fill the video, I could either make this the background, and so now I have this like fun paper texture background, or I can play with these blend modes and now I have texture that way. So there are lots of different ways that you can play with using video to take a static post and make it stand out, which is really fun. So with that, I think those are most of the actual editing features. Again, definitely cater this towards your specific audience. Feel free to, call out like the different audio. There's music, there's sound effects, photos and video in stock. Whatever you think will be most useful for your audience. But I like showing the time-saving tips. Oh, one last one too. This is relatively new, is that there is a rewrite in project. So clicking on any text box, for example, I don't know. Okay, I want just this one. If I want to rewrite this title, maybe make it sound more casual or more academic, I can generate new versions of this, which is cute, and then either replace it or actually add it as a new page. So again, there are like so many ways to just really build out this project into tons of different content really quickly. So here I could download all of these together. They'll download zipped. If I download all the pages, and it'll even download the video pages as video. I could also share this, so I can invite other people to co-edit and co-work with me. I can make this into a template, which is a cool way to show off some different features as well. I can make a public template link, or if I save this back to a brand, I can actually add these different brand restrictions, like anyone using this template can only pick from these colors, only these fonts, can or cannot add their own media. So this is a way to make the design team or the designer feel good about other people using their designs. You can also choose exactly what to lock. So maybe I wanted to lock this title but allow the text to be replaced, or lock this image but allow the text to be or the image to be replaced. There are tons of options for that, which is great to show off if your audience is folks who would be making the templates and then passing them on. And then lastly, let me go to the square here. Lastly, you can schedule directly to social, which is great for solopreneurs or folks who work in marketing. Check this first because I didn't, and so some of my tokens need to be refreshed. It's really easy. You just go in and like refresh them, reconnect it, but it's not fun to do this on stage. So just check in before you go live and make sure that all of these are updated. You can add in a couple different ones because now you can actually have up to 3 different profiles per calendar, which is pretty cool, per account. So maybe for this, I'll choose Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Instagram has different options. These also likely will change. So as social platforms update, I imagine that some of this will update. But in general, show off how easy it is to connect social accounts. I'll generate a new caption, which is great because I hate writing, especially when I'm live demoing. So I'll just say like, come to our flower pressing workshop this weekend, and I can generate something new. It's also really nice that you can rewrite, shorten, or lengthen. So for example, maybe I want to like delete these hashtags and I want to, let's just like rewrite this. You can highlight only part of it if you want and rewrite that, which is nice. Oh, except now it's too long for X. That's great. Well, here, this is perfect. I can use it as an example of shortening. So there are, again, tons of options that you can play with here, which is really great for folks, especially who really don't love copywriting like me. You can also preview what this will look like, which is a great way to just make sure nothing is cut off, that you like the way it looks and sounds. It's a nice time to like spell check yourself too. And here is where you can actually put this in your calendar. So I'll make this for tomorrow morning. I like to save this as a draft, especially if I'm showing a bunch of different workshops or demos at once. I will often forget to go back and delete it, and then I'll just post whatever I've demoed, which is weird. So feel free to hit draft, and then you can view it in the calendar. I like to have things that I've actually posted. I think that's nice. Like this is something that I posted earlier this month to show that I'm actually using it. And in a perfect world, I would have like a more filled out calendar like this one. So, you know, it's nice to have this a little bit filled in, but you can also scroll ahead to like a blank month and show some cool things. So I love in the filter options here, you can show events that are created by Adobe Express and also post suggestions. So events are like calendar holidays and things, which is great if you're running a business and you want to just make sure that you don't miss anything. And you can also see the Adobe Express templates and edit them from there, which is great. I also really love these prompts because these are a great way to give yourself some ideas of what you want to post. So, you know, maybe I'm stuck. I can just come to the calendar and look through these different posting options, or even straight up use this as my posting calendar. So top trends, lessons I've learned, growth tips, favorite resources. These are really great things, especially for folks who are marketing themselves, just making your job a little bit easier. And then of course with my post, I can move things around, click in and edit anything. And you can also upload content directly from your phone or desktop. You don't have to only use Adobe Express projects here in the calendar. And the calendar is completely free. So there's no limit to number of posts that you can make. Anyone can try this out for free, which is really great. So that is my overview of how to demo and show off Adobe Express. Please feel free to reach out to me. I am at jordandanae@adobe.com or at jordandanaeellis everywhere. Please feel free to DM me or message me if you have any questions at all. If you want me to share any assets or share any resources, no reason to do this work multiple times. So I'm happy to share the CSV files or any of these brands or templates with you. And good luck. I hope this was helpful. Again, feel free to ask if you need anything, and stay tuned for how Express may update between this video and when you actually go to show it off. But good luck. Thanks so much for your time, and have a great day.